Are you looking for a new whiskey adventure? Then climb in and buckle up. Get ready for one hell of a ride on the Whiskey Trip podcast with your host, Big Chief. Join in as he and his guests explore whiskey and dive into whiskey stories from around the world. Now here's your host, Big Chief.
Folks, you know, here on the Whiskey Trip, we celebrate more than just the pour in our glass. We celebrate heritage, tradition, and the stories that make this country what it is. That's why I'm proud to tell you about our friends at the Heritage Flag Company. These aren't just flags, they're handcrafted works of art built from whiskey and bourbon barrels that once held the spirit we all love. Every cut, every nail, every burn mark tells a story of patience and craftsmanship. Just like the whiskey we sip, these flags are bold, timeless, and full of character. Whether you hang one in your home bar, your man cave, or gift it to a veteran or first responder, a heritage flag isn't just decor. It's a statement. It says you believe in freedom, tradition, and the legacy we pass down. So saddle up, whiskey family, and head over to theheritageflag.com. Use code WhiskeyTrip10 at checkout for 10% off your order. Let them know Big Chief sent you. Because just like your favorite pour, the Heritage Flag Company is made to be shared, honored, and remembered. Now let's get on to the show.
Hey, it's old Big Chief, and yeah, you're taking another ride on a whiskey trip. And you can see that I'm on the road this week, and I'm in San Antonio, Texas, one of my favorite cities of all time. I think it's the cleanest city in Texas, maybe in the United States. If you haven't been here to the Riverwalk, if you haven't been to the Mecca, the Alamo, sacred ground of Texas, then you got to come here. But they also got something else I like here. They got whiskey. And so I found my way up into Maverick Distilling, and I got Brandon Onstott and Mark Shilling with me. President of the company, yes, and head distiller.
That's correct.
Not a master distiller
Not
yet.
yet, no.
Well, hey, you got to start somewhere.
You got to start somewhere.
You started a distiller, but from what I understand, Brandon, you are not just the head distiller here. You're everything to this place.
Yeah, any bottle touches my hand about 20, 30 times. I handle all the grain, do all the distilling, I do all the bottling, packaging, filling of POs, you name it.
You name it.
And let's not forget maintenance on the AC system, plumbing, pretty much anything.
A little bit of it all.
Yeah.
A little bit of it all. I love it. I mean, that's almost every distiller I know, it seems like. You know, I know Denny Potter now he's at Potter Jane, but he started out I think he started at Jim Beam, and then he went to Maker's Mark, or he was at, I forget, it was Heaven Hill and then Maker's Mark after he went down to the Caribbean and did some rum. But he actually went to school to be a water treatment plant operator to clean shit. I mean, so I think as a distiller, you know, that's kind of what your job is, to make sure you take care of everybody's shit and make sure it's straight, right? Mm-hmm. Well, we do got whiskey in our glass. Brandon, you want to take us through what this first one is, or Mark?
Go ahead.
Either way.
Yeah, this is our straight bourbon. It's our black and gold label, so it's going to be 4 years old at 88 proof. So this is a 72% corn mash bill, 18% rye, 10 malted barley, and we're all Texas grain to glass. So corn comes from just south of us, Natascosa, the barley from North Texas, and the rye from the Panhandle.
Now wait a minute. You mean they grow corn here in Texas?
A little bit.
Man, I drove over here today. It's 4 hours, and the Germans I was driving with, they were quite surprised, and they were like, "This is a long drive," and I was like, well, we could keep driving a total of 13 hours from Orange, Texas to El Paso. And I said, how far could you get in Germany in that same amount of time? And they said they can go to southern Italy from the northern coast of Germany. In 13 hours. That's all the way across Europe.
And let me guess, in the 4 hours or so it took you to get here, you did not see one corn stalk.
I did not, but, you know, after you get past Houston, these dry-looking trees pop up, mesquite.
Yeah.
With the devil's thorn all over them. I know because I grew up in the hill country with mesquite trees, and you'll regret it if you get one of those thorns in you. Well, let's taste this. Gentlemen, I say cheers to you. beautiful nose on this, nice and sweet. And you said 4 years old?
Yes, sir.
For a Texas whiskey, that's a little older, but I think this is very beautiful for me. And I'm usually not a low proof guy. You know, I'm a nerd. I'm a whiskey nerd. And us whiskey nerds, we like our stuff hot and heavy. But this is pretty good. It's got some nice legs on it for an 88 proofer. Very beautiful.
Well, you know, I'll tell you, I think if Brandon and I were here at the time and had our way, we probably would not have bottled this at 88. But as it turns out, the way people are drinking today, it is kind of nice for us to have something that's a bit lower proof. So it's kind of turned out to be a good call for us.
I like it. You know, I always say that sometimes our palates need that break from, you know, those heavy pours from that. And to me, it's kind of gets back to your roots of, you know, what sets par with Jack Daniels and, you know, Jim Beam, you know, what sets you apart, but what also gets you back to those roots of whiskey drinking. And this is it right here. I think it's very, very beautiful. How did, you know, Maverick Distilling, this is a historical site, right? And a historical lineage to I would say a Texas legend. You want to take us into that?
Sure. So Samuel Maverick, if you don't know, a lot of people know the name Maverick, and they don't necessarily know why or where it's from. Sam was a transplant to San Antonio. He came from South Carolina, and what he is most known for is basically the term Maverick. The reason the Dallas Mavericks are named that, the Ford Maverick, the Maverick from Top Gun, the old Western TV show, all of that comes from Sam Maverick because he refused to brand his cattle. This would have been back in the, you know, early to mid 1830s, just before and after the Alamo. He refused to brand his cattle. He let them kind of roam free on his land, and from time to time a cow or calf would get loose and the neighbor would find it. The way that they knew where it belonged is because it was not branded, and they would refer to it as, oh, that's a Maverick. So that's where the term really originated from. And over the years, that term has come to, you know, it started out unbranded cow or calf, and then it became sort of the term that you would use for somebody that's kind of a trailblazer that kind of makes his own rules and kind of does his own thing.
I mean, you can't get no better than that. If you're in the dictionary, I mean, come on now. Come on. And you got your name on a whiskey.
Right.
But this was his original homestead, is what you guys were telling me?
That's correct. The building that we're in right now is the Lockwood National Bank building. It was built here in downtown San Antonio in 1918. And prior to that, it had been a number of things. But it was the original Maverick homestead before anything commercial had been built on it. And the building where we are right now, as best we can tell, is approximately where the chicken coops, the animal cages and pens sat on the original homestead. And if you go across the street, there's a hotel on the block right across from us over here. On the other side of the block, that hotel has a plaque on it that describes the area of the Maverick homestead as being, you know, it was a fairly large homestead right around downtown. In fact, Republic Park, right across on the other side over there, was a part of the homestead that the Maverick family gifted to the city, you know, a number of years ago.
Wow. Well, I mean, we are in a distillery. We're in a historical bank. Beautiful room we're in and stuff, and everybody can see. Actually, I got the steel house or the steel room behind us, behind that glass, where, you know, you guys got some beautiful flags flying. If you haven't seen that big star that says Texas around it, that's actually the Texas Whiskey Association's flag, right? Isn't it?
I don't know.
I mean, I'm looking back there. I might have to check that out. It looks like that's
Close to it.
If it's not, it should be. And of course, we are big members and supporters of the Texas Whiskey Association. We believe very strongly in Texas whiskey, where it is and where it's going, and we're excited about the future for it.
I mean, if it's going any route like this is going, we're in good hands and stuff. I think that people that think that Texas whiskey's big and bold and it's too powerful for them, because I hear that a lot. And hey, that's fine. If that's all you want to drink is Kentucky bourbon or Tennessee whiskey, that's fine with me. I'm good with that. I drink a lot of that too, but I like variety of life. That's why I love going to eat in Houston, because there's so many different cultures there, and whiskey has different cultures, and Texas whiskey is its own culture. But this right here I don't find nothing offensive about this. It doesn't have a funk to it. It is very, very beautiful. What kind of still did this come off of?
This comes from our pot still. So we have a hybrid pot still. We don't have the column connected, so everything's getting double distilled through that. It's a 500-gallon Koth or Cote, German-made still. We run it 5 days a week.
So, did you say German?
It is.
Once again,
German-made, made to order.
And listeners, I keep bringing that up and stuff, and I know you've heard on different episodes I've done about German heritage in the state of Texas, but I wanted to point out to new listeners out there that Galveston was like the gateway of the West, really. They say Fort Worth was, but people would come off of boats in Galveston. They would go through immigration there. They would buy their supplies and their wagons, and they would haul up to Fort Worth, and that was like the last civilization for them and stuff. But most of those Germans spread out through Texas, and the culture here, our food, our language, comes from German culture. So it's nice to see that there's some of that German culture from a German steel in there. And maybe that's why that whiskey tastes so good.
Fine German engineering.
I mean, it is. They do make some nice stuff, right? And it's probably like a clock. It works on time, and you don't have to tinker with it too much.
A little bit, here and there to get what we want. We're really hands-on on the process, making sure we're making the best stuff we can. So there's a little bit tweaking every now and then.
So you're saying it's like a Volkswagen Bug then?
Yes, the people's car.
Yeah, the people still.
There you go. The people still.
There you go. And what barrels? What size of barrel did this age in right here?
This particular bottle, in fact, all of the 4-year straight bourbon that we have out right now was aged in 30-gallon barrels that are stored in the vault below the distillery in the building here. We have a rickhouse out south of town where we have our 53-gallon barrels, and as we start to transition from the 30 gallons to 53 gallons, there will be a slight change in the profile. We could get more into the nerdy part of that at some point if you want, but what we do here is very intentional. We think and we pay attention to the nuances, and so we're not going to be able to recreate this exactly going from 30s to 53s, but by making some adjustments along the way, we feel like we can keep it kind of close.
Well, I for a 30-gallon barrel, and I know there's a lot of listeners out there like, what about the 53-gallon barrel? Well, as I pointed out time and time and time again, until 1968, there was no standard barrel in America. It took till 68 to get that standard barrel out there. So obviously people were making good whiskey in smaller barrels before 1968.
Well, in fact, in the time prior to Prohibition, the 30-gallon barrel was the most common barrel for whiskey storage.
And you weren't aging that in the Texas heat. What's the temperature down there in that basement?
It, fluctuates a little bit, but it's a lot more consistent compared to, out in the Texas heat. So in the winter, it'll get down to like the low 60s. Summer, when it's 100 degrees outside, it'll be low 80s. It's really consistent, kind of a narrow band of temperature. It is a little bit higher in humidity. Here in San Antonio, it gets pretty dry. So we've seen that, but it's a lot smaller band of temperature fluctuations and stays cooler year round.
Yeah, that's another thing about the state of Texas. Texas is a gigantic state. You could actually fit 3 of Germany's in the state of Texas. I want you to put that into thought, right? And then you can go all the way from where I live at in Orange, Texas, probably 12 foot above sea level. You could go out to Big Bend National Park and you're up at almost 9,000 feet. And we're probably 1,500 right here somewhere in there in the hill country.
I'm actually not sure about the elevation in
Somewhere,
San
I think
Antonio.
somewhere in there, not in San Antonio, but in the hill country, maybe up to 2,000 foot in some places. But my point in that is we have so many different microclimates here, right? You talked about how dry it is. We're like another Texas distillery, giant Texas distillery is on a coast down there, and they deal with the humidity where you guys aren't having to deal with that so much.
No, not at our warehouse. So it's a little bit south of town. So it's almost South Texas. Well, I guess San Antonio is South Texas, but you go north San Antonio, that's pretty much the hill country. You
Yeah.
start getting into New Braunfels. So down there, it's real hot, dry, and we haven't really seen too much high humidity in the past couple of years. It's been 2 dry summers, so it's been extra low humidity.
That's my old stomping grounds up there in New Braunfels.
Okay.
Up there at Green Hall, place called Riley's Tavern up in near San Marcos. Yeah, a little back in them days, back probably when we were in school doing some honky tonking.
Honky tonking.
That's what you did, man. You had to drive 90 miles to go get a beer and go to a dance hall.
It's been a long time.
No.
Well, did you grow up in the hill country? Or?
No, I actually grew up in Houston.
In Houston, down there, hot and
humid. It's like breathing in pudding.
I know. Hey, I know how you feel, man. If I didn't have a pool in my backyard, I'd be dead by now. This is a beautiful whiskey. So what do you go in out of the still into the barrel? What proof do you?
So we're usually coming out of the still a little bit below 140, 138 or so. We'll proof it down. We have been filling our barrels at 120 proof. About last year, we decided to lower that proof to 110. So all of our barrels now, we're going in at 110, and then this year we'll probably do half 110, half 120, just to see the difference. But we're seeing so much success with other people going in at that lower entry proof. So you're talking about the standardized barrels getting changed. Before that, people didn't go in at 120 proof. It had to go in at 110 or lower. And, we're getting back to that old Prohibition style bourbon by lowering our entry proof, getting out a bunch of different flavors from that wood.
Yeah, you had a bunch of people that go in, by law, less than 125, right?
Mm-hmm.
And some people, what's it coming off of the still at?
About 138, 140.
So you're proofing it down a little bit.
A little bit before we go in the barrel.
Yeah. And where are you getting your water from?
We use municipal water, but we do have our water system, so we filter it, charcoal filter, UV filter, and then we'll use that. And we also have a drinking water system, so we use city water that we treat ourselves.
No limestone.
No limestone.
We're gonna have to talk. I got some secrets for you.
Yeah, well,
about limestone.
Well, we're happy to look at anything that's going to improve the whiskey, but it seems like you're liking it reasonably well as it is.
You'd be lucky I didn't smash this glass already. First off, I drove with people I couldn't even talk to and frustrated a little bit because I'm trying to translate through a phone. So I was like, man, I need a drink of whiskey. And we're actually talking about how little whiskey I actually do get to drink every day. I usually just get to drink for the show, or if I do a sip or two for reels on social media and stuff. But there's never where I get to just sit down and really enjoy myself and say, those are rare occasions where I get to sit down and just enjoy a bottle of whiskey and say, man, there's several occasions where I still do, but.
Well, if we can keep you here after the show for just a little bit, maybe we can do something like that.
So you're putting it into those 53-gallon barrels. Is the new rickhouse out there, is it climate controlled or anything?
No, it's just a giant metal building. All of our large 53-gallon barrels are palletized. We stack them 4 high, and they're out there just cooking in the Texas heat.
So you're going to have to really watch those things.
Yes, we've been trying. We give them about a year or so to let them, start aging, and then we start sampling, seeing what's going with them, how they're aging, how sweet they are. If they're starting to pick up too much wood flavor, obviously that doesn't happen until about 4 or 5 years. But we keep an eye on it all.
It's like a brisket.
Right. You gotta take it out at the perfect temperature, let it rest, and it's ready to serve.
One of the big challenges that we find in Texas, especially this part of Texas, and I think a lot of our fellow distillers down around here would agree with this, is we find that our whiskey is really kind of at its peak quality at a much younger age than what a lot of people think they ought to be drinking whiskey at. You know, there's this idea with people that the older it is, the better it is, and that's just patently false. You know, whiskey can be good at any age. It can be good coming from any size barrel if it's made well to begin with and treated well over the life of however long it's aged. So I think one of the important things for us is when people come visit us at the distillery is to educate them a little bit more about the aging process and how it's different here versus, say, Kentucky or California or Norway or someplace else.
This whiskey right here, before we go ahead and start sipping on the second one, I'm getting a little bit of. You ever been into the Longhorn? Maybe it's not Longhorn Steakhouse. Maybe it's Logan's that has the peanuts.
Yeah, a
You know,
little bit of
you-
nuttiness.
the nuttiness, a little dryness on my palate and stuff, and I'm really digging this, especially that peanut and stuff, because I grew up in hill country. And Mark, you're going to be like, yeah, I know what you're talking about. And I've said this before, but you take and get yourself a Dr. Pepper,
Oh, I haven't done that in years.
and then you drink a little bit of it. You take a
Fill
bag
up
of peanuts and
peanuts.
pour them in there and let it bubble up, and then the saltiness of that with that Dr. Pepper is perfect. Perfect. Shout out to my old principal and driver's ed teacher, Bill Brewster, was the first person that ever gave me
Show you
one of the
that.
Dr. Peppers. Yeah, what a great guy and a great memory. That I always talk about whiskey brings back those memories for people. But I was going to ask you, Mark, about the bottle itself, because this bottle it's like a throwback to like 1870, I think. And then the cork lid, I don't know what kind of wood that is, but it's stunningly beautiful. It's almost Japanese.
So I don't know what wood
Yeah.
the topper
He's
is.
like, God dang it.
But as I said, everything we do with intention, right? So, you know, the bottle is specific for a reason. The topper is specific for a reason. You know, the logo on top of the bottle, that's the Samuel Augustus Maverick monogram. The bottle is meant to sort of be nostalgic of the time period, right? The signature at the bottom of the bottle is Sam Maverick's actual signature. I mean, no, he didn't sign the bottle, but it is the copy of his signature that is on the Texas Declaration of Independence. And so as we're talking about history and how our distillery fits into the history, Sam's not just known for the coinage of the term Maverick. He was a defender at the Alamo and one of the few survivors. And the reason he survived is because he was elected by his peers to go to Austin, then Waterloo, to sign the Texas Declaration of Independence and request reinforcements. Either he left 2 days before the siege or he arrived in Austin 2 days before the siege. I don't remember exactly. So he was successful in half of his trip. He got the signature on the declaration, but he did not get reinforcements back to the Alamo in time. And he carried a lifelong sort of survivor's guilt with that.
Well, if they did get, unfortunately, if they would have gotten reinforcements back there, then would there have been enough people in the state of Texas to take on the Mexican army at San Jacinto?
Yeah, that's a great question.
And then what do we defeated the Mexicans at the Alamo? You know, that there's a lot of thought process in that. Would have Davy Crockett went on to live a legendary life, which he already had a legendary life, but would we know those, you know, Jim Bowie? Would we have known where that knife is today?
Never thought about it like that.
You know,
What if they did win?
Well, in a more selfish vein, if things had gone differently, would we be here at this distillery named for Samuel Maverick, started by his great-great-great-grandson, doing what we're doing? And I don't know the answer to that, but I'm glad we're here.
Well, on that point, let's dip into this second glass right here. What's in the second glass?
So this is going to be our bottled and bond bourbon. It's going to be coming from the same mash bill, same Texas grains. The only difference is it's going to be 100 proof and at 5 years old. This particular batch is from our warehouse south of town, so this is the 53-gallon barrels.
Really?
Yes, sir.
And 5 years old.
At 5 years old.
Say it ain't so. I mean,
So for this batch, we put it into the barrel about 120 proof. After 5 years, it's hovering around 130. So we see about 2 proof increase a year for our warehouse south of town. So we'll get some pretty high proof stuff here soon.
Well, I say cheers.
Cheers. And this is particularly my favorite thing that we've bottled recently is this batch of Bottled and Bond. Seems very well-rounded and has all those key bourbon notes and flavors that you love.
I'm still picking up that peanut on this one right here, but I'm getting a little bit of dried leather on this. Just a little bit of caramel. This would be more towards a Kentucky-style bourbon right here. You know, I bet you if you put this on blind, nobody would know the difference for some Heaven Hill juice there.
You know, we should do that sometime.
You know what? The blind, it'll put the shame to these experts out there that think they know what the hell they're doing and what they're saying. I'm not good at it. I know I'm not good at it. I've tried before. I know what good whiskey tastes like now. That's for damn sure. But the blind, you know, it'll make a man honest.
It will for sure, but I think what's important about doing blinds is not being able to figure out what's what, but just being able to get used to like the difference between what you're tasting to help kind of refine your palate and help determine, like, I know a lot more today about what I like and don't like in a whiskey than I did 2 years, 4 years, 8 years ago. And a lot of it's from sampling a lot of whiskeys, but some of it also is from doing them blind, where you don't have any other information other than to think about what am I tasting, smelling, feeling in this moment relative to the one right next to it.
Yeah, I can't agree with you more. Beautiful whiskey.
Thank you.
I think some people out there, we were talking about age of whiskey before, and aging it in your basement here, that's probably climate controlled down there, and it's probably cooler already.
So it's not climate controlled, but because the city requires us to run some ambient air in through there, we do have some air throughput, but it's really ambient temperature. One of the things that we found is, as Brandon was describing, the humidity and temperature range is smaller down there for both of those relative to the rickhouse. But we also, and we didn't realize this until we really started looking at it, the humidity level down there is much higher, much lower. It's much drier down there than what we thought from just being anecdotally paying attention. When we really started looking at it, it's much, much drier down there than we thought, which is not what you would expect from a basement vault.
I think it's great that you're taking that out 5 years. I'm shocked at 5 years that it tastes like this right here in Texas. You know, to me, 5 years in Texas is 10, 12 years in Kentucky. And like you were saying, over in Scotland, this might be a 20 or 25 year, right? Because it's a different microclimate. It's just different. And I think I wish I could get people away from being, I call it being ageist. You know, you gravitate. Oh, you ever had any of that 23-year-old Pappy? Oh my goodness, it's so good. And I'm like, I've tasted it. I don't know that I like that better than I like just Weller Special Reserve. You know.
Yeah. I've had some older Tennessee and Kentucky whiskeys, 12, 13, 15 years old that I didn't really care for at all, which is not to say that there aren't some that would be really good, but I've also had a 4-month-old whiskey aged in a 5-gallon barrel that was surprising enough to me, one of the best whiskeys I've ever tasted. So, you just have to consider that there are so many variables about what's going into that barrel, what's happening in that barrel. There's just a lot of things that can happen. And what I would encourage anybody who is a drinker to do is just keep an open mind to things like that. And of course, there are going to be some very young whiskeys that aren't very good. There are going to be some very old whiskeys that aren't very good. But somewhere along the way, you're going to find some things that are really fucking surprising.
I would love to see Brandon take and put new make in a barrel, and once a week take just a little bit enough out of that barrel and take a sip of it every week. I know this is a lot of extra work for you, but to film that and say, okay, this week we're taking our sample and this is what I'm getting from it, and this is the color it is. And
we have about a month ago we did a event here called the Art of Aging, and I had samples from a new make, a 1-year-old barrel, a 3-year-old barrel, a 5-year-old that we're actually currently drinking, and a little special surprise was one of our oldest barrels that we had that was at 6 years. And you could really see the difference that time would make, and just all around the color, the proof, the viscosity, and it was just quite shocking just how even that bump from 5 to 6 years really added
Oh, I'm
a
sure.
lot to
Yeah.
it.
I just think that weekly reel for the distillery would do magic for you guys as far as marketing wise goes, because it's that inside peek of a distiller, and get to see, okay, this is what we're working with this week and stuff. And I always like thinking outside of the box, and I think anything a distillery can do today to sell whiskey is super important. We all know what's going on in the industry, all the bad news that's out there, and hopefully we can find more good news like Maverick Distillery for podcasts. I know I will. I'm always trying to think outside the box of what can I do to bump my shill up and stuff, and finding those stories, finding guys like you. I already do this joker right here, but that's what matters to me, and to make sure we save this for generations, because are we gonna see this go into the 1970s where these whiskey companies are just folding belly up and stuff, and nobody's drinking whiskey at all? Our generation drinks whiskey. It's more your generation that's not drinking whiskey.
Not so much, yeah.
Yeah.
And if they do, they're really big bottle chasers. They're not sitting down enjoying it.
Yeah.
Collecting them like Pokemon cards, being like, oh, look what we got. And then they'll just let it sit.
I'll tell you a story. I went over to somebody's house, and I'm not going to say who is this. And they were like, when we first met, they were like, yeah, I'll let you drink anything. And they really didn't mean that to say that to me. But they handed me a bottle and were like, look what I got. And I was like, oh, can I check it out? And before they knew it, the back was turned to me, and I started opening it. And I'm like, I'm opening it, I'm pulling it. He was like, what are you doing? And I was like, I'm gonna drink this. He said, well, I didn't mean for you to open that bottle. I was like, well,
Why'd you offer?
sorry. To me, whiskey is meant to be opened. It's
be
not
drank,
meant to be a trophy on a shelf to show people and tease people.
Well, if you ever come to my house, that is the rule. There is nothing off limits.
Mark's
Absolutely
like, my
not.
rule is you can't touch any of my bottles.
No. The only reason I have some unopened bottles at home right now is because I haven't gotten there yet. And, one guy can only do so much. So what I'm saying is, if you find yourself in town, in the neighborhood, I could use a little help. Feel free to come on by.
I actually feel bad. To the Texas Whiskey Trail, this has been my first trip down here as the whiskey trip to San Antonio. I have felt bad about it, and I need to get back here more. But I'm also up in Austin all the time because you know what I say, hook 'em horns. I'm up there for that. I'm up there for.
Wait, I thought you said
the-
no religion and no politics on the show.
In Texas, that's a cult. I didn't say no cults. Don't tell me you're a Texas A&M guy.
Well, so I'll
Pack
point
my
out.
shit. I'm gonna pack it up.
Let me point out the horns on the still down there are not longhorns. Those horns are representative of the cattle that Samuel Maverick didn't brand.
But those are long.
They are not longhorns. If you look at them closely, they're not longhorns.
What are they?
I don't know what they're probably Hereford or some shit like that.
I've never seen a Hereford with big ass horns like that.
They're not that. They're not that
They're just
big.
extra medium horns.
Right, and so
medium
even if
horns.
they are like some small longhorns, they are not longhorns. We would not allow that in here.
I don't know. Even this tint of this wallpaper in here kind of
Now it's all coming together for you, isn't it?
feels like Longhorn in here.
No. That's a very brownish maroon color right there.
Well, I don't know. I seen some Longhorns right there in the old photo.
All right, that one might be.
Don't look at that.
Yeah. Well, we're up against the first half, and I always say somebody had made a comment on YouTube this past week that there's no time limit on a great conversation, right? To me, And this
But
is,
you're going to shut us down for one right now.
I am. You know, I got to have time limits this week, people. Not because I don't want to make a great show, and I think this
Because
is already a
Mrs.
great show.
Big Chief is...
Miss Viv, she said, "Hey, buddy, you better come put your boots
That's right.
on."
Well, it turns out our glasses are empty anyway, so we'll take a moment to refresh.
Yeah, and then you guys were generous and donated a bottle for a giveaway, and I'm very gracious for it. And we'll be giving this bottle away, and I'll let everybody know how to do that. In the meantime, listeners, listen to our sponsors. You know, the Heritage flag right here. You saw the Guardian coins, or you're going to see the Guardian coins. You see the Heritage flag at the beginning of the episode. But check out my sponsors and stuff. You know, I wouldn't be here without those sponsors. If you're looking to sponsor a podcast, whoever you are, if you're a whiskey brand or if you're somebody that's kind of whiskey related, you make leather belts, you make cowboy hats, you make boots. I need some new boots. You know, let's trade some product for sponsorship. I really, really like some boots. I wear a 13 or 14. They got to be big. If you got to kill a whole alligator, whatever you got to do. But no, seriously, you stick with us, listeners, and we'll be right back. The Whiskey Trip is proudly sponsored by Guardian Coins, a veteran, family-owned and operated company that understand what it truly means to honor service, story, and tradition. Guardian Coins just doesn't make the challenge coins. They craft symbols of pride, legacy, and camaraderie. From military units and first responders to distilleries, brands, and special events, every coin is designed with purpose and built to last. Here at the Whiskey Trip, our official Whiskey Trip Challenge coin was brought to life by Guardian Coins, and it represents exactly what this ride is all about. Craftsmanship, community, and sharing a great pour with amazing people. From custom artwork to flawless finishes, Guardian Coins works with you one-on-one to turn your vision into something tangible, something you can hold, collect, and pass down. So if you're looking to create a coin that tells your story, whether it's from your unit, your brand, or your next big milestone, trust the folks who know how much that story matters. Visit Guardian Coins on Facebook and tell them Big Chief from the Whiskey Trip sent you. Now pour something good and let's get back to the ride. All right, listeners, we're back for the second half. I got these two jokers with me, Brandon and Mark, and what a great conversation. Even in the half we've been having, we've been talking about whiskey and the Texas whiskey community. But what we're really here to is drink whiskey and promote Maverick to you and tell you why you should be going to the store today or going online and purchasing it.
That's right.
I'm sure you can buy this online.
You can, and you want to give us a quick shout out to our online platform, Big Thirst.
It'll cost you, but no.
All right, no, that's all right.
I'm messing with you.
Everything has a cost. So yes, we are available online. If you are not able to find us in a store or get to the distillery, or if you're out of state, because unfortunately we're only available in Texas at the moment. But yes, you can find most of what we make online. There are a few things online that you can't get anywhere else. And there are a few things that we have here at the distillery you can't get online. So it's a mix of different things. But everything we're tasting here today is available online at the distillery and is in distribution in various parts of the state.
I love it. In Big Thirst, I will tell you, Big Thirst is a great company. If you're a distillery out there and you're looking for some help to move your product, you can call this joker right here. I can get you in contact with him.
Yeah, because we know a guy.
He's Big Chief approved. I will tell you that. I don't stand behind a whole lot of people. They're not trying to rob you or anything. Trying to get your whiskey to the market.
The whole reason Big Thirst came into existence in the beginning was simply to help small distilleries get product moving.
And hey, I know every craft distillery out there needs help. Said the king of craft.
That's right.
You're right. Well, what's in the second glass? This first glass we got right here for the second half.
So this is our 4-grain whiskey. This is going to be our oldest age statement whiskey that we have. This one's going to be 6 years, aged in our basement in a 30-gallon barrel. It is a 51% corn, 20% rye, 19 wheat, and 10 barley. So it is our 4-grain. It's a little bit everything. So.
That didn't sound quite right. You said aged in our basement. It just didn't sound. I was like, is that a pair of old shoes? No, it's aged in the lower levels of a bank.
In the old bank
Yeah.
vault,
Yeah.
underground beneath the distillery.
Brandon's like, God
With
almighty.
Got me.
18-inch thick concrete walls and the ghosts of, I don't know, there's probably
Sam Maverick's probably down there.
Yeah, but also old bank customers and whatnot.
Bank tellers.
Who went down and never came back.
What was Sam's wife's name?
Mary.
Mary Maverick.
Mary is very intense.
Well, so funny thing about Mary, and one of the things that we really appreciate her for today is she was a diarist, meaning she wrote things down, lots of things. And the 4-grain whiskey that we're drinking right now, of all of the things that we make, this is the one thing that really harkens back to the original Sam Maverick whiskey. So, Samuel Maverick was a real person who really lived in a house on this property. He was really at the Alamo. The term Maverick is really named after him, but also he really did make whiskey at that time. And as many people did back then, if you grew grain at all, at the end of the season, if you had leftover grain, you were going to make whiskey with it because otherwise it was going to spoil or go to waste. So this 4-grain whiskey is based loosely on the writings of Mary Maverick because she made notes about the whiskey that Samuel Maverick was making. Mm-hmm. The notes that we have are sparse. There's bits and pieces here and there. So this is not exactly what Sam made in the mid-1800s.
And he added a lot of his own special ingredients, stuff like gunpowder, things like that to give it a little bit of kick. So
A little bit of poison.
Yeah, but this bourbon is made to modern bourbon standards, so no additives,
No additives
whatsoever.
So take me through the mash bill again.
So this is a bourbon, so 51% corn, and then it's going to be 20% rye, 19 wheat, and 10 barley. And everything, again, like all of our bourbons and whiskeys, all Texas grain.
Wow, I love it. And I pointed out before, I was growing up in the hill country of Texas, and a lot of people are like, where's the hill country at? Well, right around Austin, Fredericksburg, where I grew up, about 90 miles north is the gateway to the hill country, and it kind of spreads out from there. But the hill country of Texas, in the wintertime, you plant a cover crop to fight erosion, and that would be winter wheat.
Winter wheat.
Yeah, you see it everywhere. You always see these brown little creatures out there eating it. They taste so good. But you always have wheat here, and I always think whiskey is a big thing in Texas because of that. We got so much. Rye is more of a panhandle thing.
That's correct. That's what this one is, a Brucey rye from the Panhandle. We actually get it from Maverick Malt House. No association, but he came up with the name because he heard the story of Maverick, and people are like, you can't grow that stuff in the Panhandle. He's, a pioneer, so he decided to name his company Maverick Malt House.
I think the coldest place on the face of the earth I've ever been, and I served on an icebreaker for 26 months up in the Great Lakes. The coldest place I've ever been is in the Panhandle of Texas, hunting. There's no trees up there. There's no nothing. It's
windy.
I guess the Paladera Canyon is not in the Panhandle though. It's not so flat up there, but the Panhandle itself is. I don't know. I don't know if there's a tree up there. If there is, it's one lonely tree.
I think Paladera Canyon is a different kind of hill country. It just goes down instead of up, like what we have over
If
here.
you haven't been there, it's absolutely stunning too. But this is, to me, the kind of the southern gateway to the hill country here. So, but what a beautiful whiskey. What was the proof on this one?
This is going to be, what we have bottled right now is 106 proof or 53% ABV.
This is right up my alley right
And
here.
again, these are all single barrels that we're doing for this particular one. Will it stay that way forever? Maybe, maybe not. Not really sure. But this particular bottling is a single barrel from the basement, so it's 30 gallon. Mm-hmm. And I don't know, Brandon, when do you think we'll see our first bottling of a 53 in this one?
We hope this year, probably around summer, we'll get some of that in a bottle. It's not going to be quite as old as the 6-year. It'll be 4.5 to 5 years since we filled 30-gallon barrels first before moving to the 53s. But because of that, like we were talking earlier, the warehouse environment and everything, it's picking up a lot of those good wood flavors and everything that we're looking for. So we're really happy with the samples that we've been trying this winter. So we're excited about getting it into a bottle.
Did you distill this
I actually did not. This was distilled before I got
before
here.
you got here?
Yes, sir.
I'm going to tell you something. Did you proof this down?
I did proof it down, and Mark and I and some other employees picked that barrel for the single barrel. So we were trying to put our best foot forward with these new releases, since we did just come out with this summer, or I guess last summer now. So we've done about 6 single barrels of the 4 grain. We're trying to make sure we pick the best ones we had available.
And if you're a real nerd, you'll notice on the label, well, you guys won't because you can't see it. And actually, because this is an in-house bottle, it doesn't have it. But on the labels that go out for distribution, there will be, in addition to the barrel number, there will be an L or an F for Lockwood, which is the downstairs, the vault, or Fowler, which is the 53-gallon rickhouse. So again, if you're a nerd, you can pick up both bottles and compare the 30 versus 53, the vault versus the rickhouse, et cetera.
Now, will all these be proofed down to that same 106?
Well, when we switch to the different barrel size, we might choose a different proof since we haven't really sampled all of that through and we don't know. It is single barrel, so if we get something at a proof that we like it for that barrel, we'd release it at something different. But as of right now, everything that we've done has been at the 106.
I've had a couple bottles this year already that I'm like, man, this is hitting just right. This is my jam. And it's right around that 107 proof, that's that magical proof, I think, for me. But this right here, I'm going to tell you something. I'm going to put this in my whiskey of the year category. And, at the end of the year of 2026, I'll drink a bunch blind. And we'll see how it stacks up. But that's pretty damn good. And that's saying something. I'll drink 12 to 1,500 expressions this year.
1,500.
It's just, you go to whiskey festivals and you get other expressions sent to you. You go to bottle shares. You go to people's houses. And you're right. That is a lot of damn different bottles of whiskey. And I get to try different. But look, I'm not Fred Minnick. I've said that in other shows. I'm not going to sit there with 100 bottles. It's just bottles that I have been on my show, and then I'm like, shit, this is the reason I do this right here. People are like, what's your favorite bottle of whiskey, Chief? And I'm like, it's the bottle I find tomorrow that I'm like, yeah, this is it. This is magical. This is get me on an island with some flip-flops, listen to some music. I mean, this is what it's all about.
Well,
So
listen,
congratulations.
I think this is an important point to make, and that is we are really particular about what we choose to put in a bottle. Now, we weren't always that way. In the first years, when we didn't have very much to work with, it was, if it's ready, put it in the bottle. But Brandon and I in particular, for all of the bottlings now, we sit down and we taste and we blend and we think about everything. The reason that this is bottled at 106 is not because we just said, oh, that seems like a good number to put on a bottle. We think people will like 106. It's because we tasted it through and, to your point, 107 is kind of your magic number. Well, I guess we got lucky on that. That's where we really liked it.
Yeah.
Some people may not like it at that proof, and that's fine. And you can add some ice or water if you want. You can't make it hotter, but you can bring it down. But the point being is, like, if you pick up a bottle of Maverick whiskey, you know that when you drink it, whatever it is, we really thought about what it is that's in the bottle at that time. We didn't just dump a barrel.
I'm getting some dark stone fruits out of this, some cherry juice, a little bit of tobacco, a little bit of spice.
A little bit.
Right? It is, the sweetness to this is staying on my mid palate, and I love that it's got a longer finish.
Yeah, it's
which is
that weed in
surprising.
there really helps the mouthfeel, the viscosity, and really coats the palate.
And that's what it's all about for me right there. It is it good, like I said before, to go back and lower your proof on whiskey and visit some Irish whiskeys that maybe be 80 proof. And it is, because those can be like drinking soft honey, right? But it almost resets your palate and makes you enjoy a whiskey that much more. And then you get to drink something like this, and you're like, "Shit, man, where's Matthew McConaughey when I need him?" That's it. This is iconic Texas to me right here. When I think of Texas whiskey, this is it.
I appreciate that.
Man, it is beautiful. Now, and neither one of you jokers started out in whiskey, right?
I mean, nobody in this part of this business did, right? We all came from somewhere else first.
Well, you're a chemist by trade.
A little bit. That's what I went to school, biology and chemistry. But that's kind of where I got my start in whiskey. Also, going to school, I was sitting there in an organic chemistry class, just rolling my head. And they started talking about, the separation of alcohol and water and distillation. I was like, wait a second, that sounds familiar. Called my brother, who was going to school in Tennessee, and asked him, hey, they talked about this. Is that something you can do? And he learned from the locals how to make a little bit of moonshine. So over the phone, he told me, where to go, what to buy. And a couple weeks later, I was distilling some moonshine in my college apartment. And, I thought that was cool. It was a fun little side project. Years later, I didn't think I would be here. But, it's just kind of shows you never know what you'll get into. So that's kind of how I got my start in here. I heard they had an opening. I was like, I'm going to go for it. I was working a desk job, hated it, and there I started here, and that was 4 years ago now.
You never can tell. I never turn down a conversation with somebody, because you never can tell where that's going to lead to an experience in life. And a lot of people ask me, what do you get out of this? I'm not going to make $1 million doing this, what I do, but I make great friendships, and you never can tell the experience I'm going to get from people, or whether it's drinking whiskey with you, or going on a hunting trip, or even going on a fishing trip, or just hanging out and drinking whiskey by a campfire. I get to meet folks from across the face of the earth, and that's what it's all about. Now, Mark, what'd you?
It's funny.
You didn't have a soul, did you?
No, and maybe I still don't. But what?
Well, you went to Texas A&M. That's why. I'm just messing with you.
That is true.
He's like, God dang it.
Now, we'll come back around to that, I'm sure. But what's funny is I have never heard Brandon tell his origin story before.
Really?
No. And of all the things we've talked about, we have not kind of gone through that. And I don't know if he's heard mine, but the funny thing is what ties it together tends to be moonshine. And this is the thing that comes up, I think, amongst a lot of us when we start talking about that. So prior to this, I spent about 30 years, betraying my age a little bit, in the lobbying business. And I was in Louisville with clients in 2009. I had already been thinking about, what is my exit strategy to get out of this? I was kind of over it already at the time. Was with clients in Louisville at a little reception, and one of the guys there brought me over. He asked if I wanted. He was kind of manning the bar, as you do in the hotel suite. I walked in. He asked if I wanted a drink. I said, yeah, absolutely. He didn't ask what I wanted, or anything. He kind of forced it on me. He kind of poured me a drink, a couple of ice cubes in rocks glasses and clear liquid, and handed it over. And I took a sip, and I was like, wow, this is really good. It's sort of vodka-like, but it's not really. It has a sort of a flavor, but I can't really quite put my finger on it. What is this? Oh, it's my family's moonshine. Well, if you've had moonshine before, 99% of moonshine in the world is not particularly well made. It's high proof, rough cut, just not particularly good. This stuff was extremely well made. He said, yeah, my family's been making it for several generations, and we don't sell it. It's just for friends and family and whatnot. It was fantastic. So I was flying back to Austin a couple of days later thinking, you know what, I've found it. This is what I want to do. It was right at the cusp of when the craft distilling movement was really starting to take hold. And so I kind of took that and started spending some time looking at it. And that's kind of how that got started for me.
I love when people don't start in whiskey, they're not an 8th, 9th generation distiller, because it doesn't seem like it's forced. It seems like that person came to that, decision that I need to change my path in life and I need to do something different that I'm going to fall in love with. And that can be whiskey for people.
Right. And, we were talking during the break a little bit about that. And, and I made the observation, there are so many people in this business today that came from somewhere else. Maybe politics, maybe chemistry, maybe music, maybe accounting, but so many different places, and they all bring their own experiences and knowledge and whatnot into this. And I think that's really what makes what we're doing at this craft level so much more dynamic and cool and interesting, because you have all of these external influences that you wouldn't otherwise get. You did the podcast with Sam and Emiliano the other day and talked about, there was a lot of discussion about their Hispanic heritage and how that influenced their decisions. All of those things, no matter where you come from, you're bringing things that you didn't really think about into it, and it becomes a part of your product, your provenance, your sense of place and what you're making. And I think that's a really, really cool thing.
I love it. To finish up on this before we move on to the next drink, the next pour, it's still sitting on my palate and has like this fresh cut mint that's just sitting there. And it's just tingling. I'm like, man, that's why this whiskey's good right here. And that you proofed it at the right proof. Is that the right proof for everybody? It might not be, but I find that very pleasing for myself. The viscosity of it is usually at 107 proof, you get the right viscosity. Any lower than that, I don't know. I drank a lot of 101 Wild Turkey in my day, and I actually just got a bottle of that from Germany, the 12-year-old.
Oh, wow.
And I'm
Very cool.
super excited to drink it, but this is my proof right here.
You don't have it down in the truck, do you?
I do not. You know what what it's all about, right? I got some other whiskey from there too, some German whiskey, and I'm really excited to try that. But that's 80 proof, so we'll see. But hey,
Not that there's anything wrong with it.
No.
you come to Southeast Texas for the bottle share next January, I'll crack that son of a bitch open. We'll drink it.
It's
We'll
a
drink the
long
whole
way to
bottle.
wait, but we'll
It
see
is,
what
but
happens.
that bottle share is worth it. There's a group of guys, Poor Decisions Rickhouse Facebook group, but those guys have got together, and there's a part of whiskey where people have got really pretentious, and they just like, oh, my baby, my bottle, look what I got. But not these guys. I mean, we had we might have had 300 bottles out there on tables, and there were bottles from craft distilleries up to big name distilleries, big bottles out there, but people were grabbing those craft distiller stuff, and there were 4 distillers there. 2 Texas distilleries were at this past one, and these guys are excited because we're going to have a 3rd annual one, and I know it's going to be that. And maybe we'll have more distillers there. They damn sure brought the barbecue scene, because there was everything you could imagine, a buffet line of meat, a plethora of meat. Not a whole lot on the sides. Some dirty rice.
Don't need the sides, just
No,
the meat.
I always say that. Yeah, I think that's an old school mentality.
I don't know.
Are you a side guy?
You gotta have the pickles and onions if we're eating.
No,
brisket.
that's not a side, though.
Is it? Okay, yeah, but it depends on the side. You're right, because I gotta have some pinto beans and mac and cheese.
I'm
and
okay
stuff
with
like
some
that.
mac and cheese or some potatoes, but I don't need anything green.
Pickles
on
and
the plate.
onions is a condiment,
Yes.
it's
yeah.
almost like having ketchup or mustard.
I guess no sides. I'll just take that white bread, pickles, onions, some slabs of brisket.
No potato bread,
I'm partial to sunbeam.
sunbeam. Hey, we all got our. It's
I
like
can
whiskey.
100% go with that, but I'm down with the potato bread too. But
This could get very political. We start talking about brisket.
as long as it's sliced and not chopped,
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely. I
We're
don't.
not, we're not committing crimes here, okay?
That's.
I feel like there's another podcast coming up where we just talk about barbecue.
I should do that. The barbecue of Texas whiskeys at their distilleries. And who has the best? Buc-ee's, if you're listening to me, your barbecue chop sandwich is horrible. I'm just saying it. I don't like it. I made the mistake and bought one, and I instantly regretted it. It was like, do you remember having barbecue sandwiches in school?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, more of a sloppy Joe.
Oh man,
I'll stick to the beaver nuggets.
the beaver nugget. There's other things at Buc-ee's that's great, but yeah, we better get back to the whiskey before Buc-ee's sues
Right,
me.
yeah.
But what's in
So we
this?
moving on to the next one?
What's this in this next one?
So this is our Triticale or Triticale whiskey. This is one of our final barrels we had of the 30-gallon stuff in the basement. So we did this for our special holiday or Christmas release. So it is 72% Triticale or Triticale. I don't know. It depends on who you talk to, what they like to call it. And yeah, we released this as our highest proof offering. This is going to be 124 proof. It's going to be 6 years old as well.
So for listeners out there that don't know what Triticale, it's a European grain. It's a hybrid between a wheat and a rye. It's easier to work for. You get some of that rye characteristic, but you also get that soft notes of wheat. I believe Dry Fly out of Washington was the first in the country to use it. And then you've had several different distillers use it. And I think it's catching on. It takes experimental guys like you guys.
Well, it's really interesting because you talk about dry fly being the first to use it. I think maybe the word you've missed is intentionally. 'Cause we have a great story.
let's
Brandon,
hear it.
you want to tell them why we have this Triticale?
Well, before you do that, let me taste it. I'll say cheers to you guys, and we'll get into
Cheers.
what's special about this right here.
So when they were first starting to fill barrels, ordering grain, using some different suppliers, they ordered a bunch of what they thought was rye to make our rye whiskey. And when they got it in, they started mashing it. And when it was fermenting, it super foamy, all that stuff you don't like with all the extra proteins and stuff that's in the rye. But they're like, something's different. It doesn't smell right. It doesn't taste right. This isn't just rye. It didn't have all those normal characteristics. And then they did a little bit of a deep dive, and they're like, this isn't rye grain. This is a little something different. Called the supplier, and it turned out to be Triticale grain. And then they ended up distilling it, making barrel-proof spirit, and they're like, well, that's actually pretty pleasant, It's not super bitey and sharp like a normal rye would be, but it wasn't overly soft like a wheat. So they decided to order more, and they made quite a few barrels of this when they first started distilling.
So distillers, check your super sacks because just because it says it's rye doesn't necessarily mean it wasn't mislabeled. It turns out for us it was a happy accident.
Human error happens sometimes. Say that mash bill again on this?
72% Triticale. It's going to be 18% corn and 10 barley.
I want to tell you something. Here's another just magical whiskey that you said it didn't have a lot of spice to it, but I think it does have a lot of spice. And I thought it was the proof, but when I drink another sip of it, I'm like, man, that's the grain speaking to me, and it's just this right balance. I think a lot of whiskey drinkers that are in that land between wheat and rye would just really like this. It opened up. It's very beautiful. It's sitting here in the glass for a little bit, but and these are Kinsey glasses, right? I think that's what they call these, Kinsey glasses.
I like to call them bell-bottom glasses.
Bell bottoms. Well, I really do like this. Not as much as I like that 4-grain, but this is. I know a lot of whiskey drinkers out there that they want to get their hands on this.
Well, this one is interesting because I think people really either love it or hate it. It's like if you like a big, bold, it has some sort of rye-like characteristics. It's big in your face, but it's different from a rye. It's got I'm not really sure how I would describe it. It's big, bold, but not rye, if that makes any sense. And honestly, this compared to our original release, which was lower proof.
Bottled and bond release.
Yeah, I think the proof makes a huge difference on it.
Yeah, I really am digging this. The proof does make a difference. This probably needed that higher proof to me. But another beautiful whiskey from you guys. You haven't disappointed. Usually there'll be one that I'm like, okay.
We may have purposely left a bottle out of this today because, we'll be the first to admit that we make sometimes some things that are not what we thought they would be. And that's why they're not out in the world.
Well, I mean, hey, those mistakes, sometimes you got to own up to it and say, okay, hey, that wasn't the best. Hey, I've had podcast episodes that will never see the light of day.
Like this one, perhaps.
No, this shit's going out to the world. I guarantee you that. Because you guys have been great.
Thank you. Let me correct one mistake I made. I said that everything we're tasting today was in distribution. The Triticale is not. It is only available here at the distillery.
At the distillery, but
Yes.
you can't order that online.
It is not online either. If I had enough people calling here saying we want to order online, I would get it online, but it's expensive. We don't have a ton of it, and if you know anything about 3-tier distribution, it's kind of a pain in the ass to get it from here to our fulfillment retailer.
Hey, listen.
But if you want it, I'll make it happen.
Let's get on the phone right now. They're going to set up a hotline. We're going to start calling.
It's like an old school telethon.
We are going to get this rolling. Maverick Distilling Company it's happening. Let me ask you guys a question. What happens here at the distillery? Because it is noisy out there. You guys got beer here because you're a brewery as well.
Yes,
Are you making beer as well?
No, we have somebody else that was making beer. We're a little bit in between people right now. We have a 3-barrel microbrewery system, 4 taps on the first floor, and quite a few more. But we try to keep at least 4 beers on tap, and that's can be anything from a light beer. We have a chocolate porter. We have some IPAs. We have a couple different things because that 3-barrel system lets us experiment.
You keep Coors Banquet on tap?
We do not, but
I'm just messing.
I think
I don't know how to answer that.
I think what Brandon's trying to say is that if you're listening and you're in the neighborhood and you're a brewer and want to also maybe do a little distilling on the side, now might be a good time to call Brandon.
With the position open, we're trying to find the right fit, somebody that knows how to brew beer and is very interested in the distilling aspect. Somebody that knows fermentation and all mash bills, everything like that, and that wants to learn distilling and be a part of bottling. That's a big one.
And you have to either have a really good nickname already or be open to one.
What's your initials? BTO?
That's my new initials now. It was granted to me this week from Mark BTO because I come in and take care of business.
I don't think BTO.
No, actually, let me back up. It's because
BTO.
his initials are BO, and I'm not going to call him BO. So I've dubbed him
I'm not going to say my
BTO.
middle name because it's only going to make it worse.
Yeah. So he's BTO now.
Okay. We'll leave it at that. BTO it is. It's like a race car with a Hemi in it. Huh?
BTO.
BTO.
We are really getting off the rails here.
Or it could be something that has to do with the flame of a
No, it's
hitting.
the band. What is
Seriously,
Little
guys?
GTO.
GTO?
Little GTO. You know that song? You don't know that.
No.
I do, but also you don't know BTO.
Is it?
Oh, I feel like it was right.
It is. I'm right there. It's the heating.
Bachman Turner Overdrive.
Is that what it is?
Yeah,
Okay.
taking care of business.
I'm more of a country guy.
Of course you are.
I can't keep it tuned to save
All
my
right,
life.
it's
so.
not important.
My wife would surprise you though in my plethora of music. Whenever she knows I've been drinking too many beers, when Dr. Dre is like blasting in the pool, she's like, "Oh my God." Big Chief's out there listening to
Having
Dr.
too much fun.
Dr. Dre. or Eminem or Beastie Boys. That's our
A favorite for sure.
yeah. So what else is going on at the distillery? How do people come and take tours? When are you guys open?
We are open on Monday and Tuesday from noon to 6, Wednesday through Saturday, noon to 9. We do tours Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. You can sign up, register via the internet, the website. And then, we've got a tasting room downstairs on the second floor, which is where we are, just outside. You hear all that noise. We have a proper bar, and we're having a little event out there right now. And then up on our third floor, we have some space for private events. So if you're in the area, coming in and looking for a place to do a little something private, we've got space for you up there as well.
I say if you're coming to San Antonio, you're here for the Riverwalk, you come in here for a conference. There's a lot of conferences here. You come in here to see the Alamo. You want to take a break from the heat in the summertime, this is a great place to come in out of the heat, take a tour, drink some whiskey, drink a beer, meet these two jokers, have a great time, and support craft whiskey is what it's all about. Support the Texas Whiskey Trail, support the Texas Whiskey Association. I think that's very important right now. They need as much help as possible. They got great whiskey, maybe even one of my whiskeys of the year right here in their 4-grain. We're going to see how that plays out at the end of the year, but I wouldn't be surprised. Texas won it this year, 2025. It could happen again.
Again, I think those awards are going on like right now, right?
That's the World Whiskey Awards. I wish they'd have a real judge come up there judge some whiskey. No, I'm just messing. They have some great judges. Some of my friends are judges, and that's pity on myself, I guess. That's all it is.
Thank you for the kind words about the whiskey. I do want to give a shout out to our friends down the road at Ranger Creek. I know you're going to be talking with them soon.
That's next week's episode, yeah.
But just a quick little teaser. We should have it available at the Texas Whiskey Festival. So if you don't have your tickets, be sure and get them soon. We've got a nice little collaboration blend with our friends over at Ranger Creek that we should have available there for tasting, and we're really, really excited about it.
I'm excited about Texas Whiskey Fest. This is, I believe it's April 18th.
17th and 18th.
17th and 18th. The Distiller
the
Dinner's on
18th is
the 17th.
the big night.
Buy your tickets now. Support this festival. Jake there, he puts on a great event and stuff.
He does.
You're going to see old Big Chief there in my cowboy hat. Do not come up and touch my cowboy hat. I'm just telling you now. But come up and say hi to me. I'll have a big crew with me. Shout out to the Hemingway brothers, Jared, Matt, Brian, Dee. Emiliano's part of that kind of that crew. But we're going to be there living at large. Miss Viv will be on my arm. Don't touch her cowboy hat either. You want to see me get real mad. But no, come drink whiskey with us. Have a great time. Support craft whiskey. That's what's there. No pretentious there. Great food. He always has there.
The food trucks he brings always knock it out of the park.
Got music
Good
going
food,
on.
good
Discussions
drink,
too.
Great people.
Yeah, I think it's amazing. Well, I just want to give you both a chance to tell listeners one last thing. You got anything that you want to say to listeners?
Yeah, if you come by, I'm here 5 days a week distilling. If you come by, say something like, I saw you on Big Chief's podcast. I'll show you the goods in the basement, take you down there.
He means whiskey, by the way.
The good barrels.
Oh, money. I'm going to make you put the lotion on the skin.
So, I'll be here, and I'm always here, and I'm always happy to share some of the fun stuff we've been doing. We're working on quite a number of different experiments and things like that. And I'm always looking for a second opinion on what people think we have in the works. So if you ever come by here in San Antonio, let me know.
I'll say something similar. I'm not here 5 days a week because I live in Austin. I come to San Antonio 2 or 3 days a week. But if I'm here and you come visit, ask for me, and we'll sit down, do a special tasting. We'll pull out some interesting stuff, and we always want to make it fun. One thing I forgot to mention, speaking of cowboy hats, we've talked a lot about the distillery. We haven't really talked about where we are. We are located at 115 Broadway, which is in absolute downtown San Antonio, about 2 blocks from the Alamo. And the reason your comment about your hat made me think of this. If you are familiar, we are right next door to the world famous Paris Hatters. Yeah. So come get some good bourbon, some good whiskey, and go next door and buy a really expensive hat.
My wife was telling our guest that's here from Germany, she was like, she started bringing out hats. She started bringing out cowboy hats, and I'm like, where'd all those hats come from? And she's like, you bought them all. I was like, oh, I didn't realize that. But I think she has like 6 cowboy hats, and I didn't realize that I had 8. And that, I know that number's going to grow, but when we travel, people kind of look at us funny when we loading up the cart to go into the hotel, because there's like 6 or 7 pairs of boots and 5 or 6 cowboy hats, and
a lot of people haven't seen those certain cowboy hat carriers.
Oh, yeah. I got some of those. Yeah. They traveled down here to San Antonio because we're actually going to the rodeo down here on Saturday night, so I might have to peek into there. Paris Hatters.
Have you been?
I have not been.
Oh my gosh. So I am not paid by them whatsoever. They just happen to be our next door neighbors, but Paris Hatters is the hat shop.
Yeah.
I would like to be paid by Paris Hatters, and I'll wear one of your hats. I am a hat whore. I'm telling you right now.
They'll go in there, they'll get it shaped up, any kind of hat color you can think of, put it on your head, make sure it's perfect, give the cut you want, the crown. They'll do it all, steam it in front of you.
That's what I'm talking about.
I don't know how many X's Stetson goes up to, but they have one higher than
100X.
whatever it is. They have a 101. Guaranteed. They are that much of a hatter that they have a special deal with Stetson that they have a 101.
Mark, you should watch my show. I had a cowboy hat maker as a sponsor, and we did a whole show on Stetson.
Yeah.
About how he went to Pikes Peak and he showed people how to make a cowboy hat. It is very interesting about beaver.
Yeah.
If you don't know about beaver, I don't want to go too much deeper on that, but
I'm not allowed to talk about going to the basement and showing the goods, and you're talking about beaver?
This is going
all
way
right,
wrong.
yeah. So it's time to shut this down and have a proper drink.
Yeah. Well, once again, gentlemen, thank you for sharing your whiskey with me. I want to say thank you for letting me come into your house and kind of share your story with my listeners around the world. I really do appreciate it.
Well, thank you very much. We love having you here. We hope we come back. Since your wife is downstairs, maybe you guys will hang around for a little bit and have a extra drink with us.
I think she's gone.
Oh.
I bet money she's gone.
All right, well, never mind then. Maybe Brandon and I will just have a drink without you then.
I might have one drink, but she's I'm pretty sure she's gone. I don't know. She might still be down there drinking. Well,
and then what about the blooper reel?
I don't know about the blooper reel, but I forgot to do the giveaway. But we got this giveaway right here. This bottle right here, you see, and this hat, this beautiful hat right here. We're gonna do this giveaway on Instagram this week. I said I would go back over to YouTube, but I want to do this on Instagram. I want you to leave an emoji of, I think that's how you say it, emoji, of a pair of cowboy boots, because the Spurs are here and Maverick.
But not a 10X or a 101X Stetson.
No, not a cowboy hat, because they're not paying me yet. So if they paid me, I'd say put 100 cowboy hats. I don't care, but put a boot, tag 4 friends, follow Maverick Distilling on Instagram. Hell, go over to Facebook and follow them. If they're on TikTok, you guys on TikTok?
We have a TikTok account that I think we have never, ever used, and maybe someday somebody will have the time and patience and effort to do something with it.
This man should own that and do that weekly show on there. I'm just saying.
I am going to make him do the weekly video that you suggested.
Brendan's like, you're never invited here again.
No, it'll be fun. Go down there. It gives me a reason to try some of these barrels and be like, last week it tasted very similar.
He's going to be like, now I get to show you the goods.
In the basement.
In the basement. But, hey, we're going to run this all week long, as you know. On Monday night, we'll be doing a giveaway. I'll announce the winner. You got to be 21. You got to reside in the United States. Once again, a cowboy hat, tag 4 friends on there, and follow the whiskey trip. And
boots, not cowboy hat.
Oh, so you done messed me up. A boot. A boot.
You hadn't even finished your drink.
I know. You got to pace yourself.
Boots. ladies and gentlemen,
boots.
boots.
So
Any particular kind of boot that you
no,
are a
just
fan
put a
of?
boot on there. I'm a fan of cowboy boots, but whatever you find an emoji of a boot,
But because we're in Texas,
it's a cowboy
I'm just
boot.
curious. Like, there's, you don't have a, or are we getting outside
A
of the
brand?
bounds of what you can say publicly? Do you have a favorite brand?
Yeah. Not really. You know, when I was growing up, Justin was a big thing, and
I still have and wear my ropers from when I was in the 10th grade.
Ariat has grown on me, but then, you know, it depends on where they're made at, because Ariat was 3 women from Reebok, and, you know, the Ariat is Secretariat, the racehorse, and
Did not know any of that.
the symbol is actually 3 horseshoes for the triple
I got
crown.
nothing.
Yeah.
Bought a pair of Ariats for Christmas, new work boots, and had no idea.
Yeah, there's a whole thing about it. They tried to get Reebok to make boots, and they said no, so they went out and make their own boots. But I don't know. It just depends. I think what's comfortable is,
Sure.
you know, when you're my size, you want something that has a little cushion to it. But, well, listeners, that's the giveaway. You know where you can find old Big Chief on social media. You can find me at The Whiskey Trip on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. Go over to YouTube, hit that subscribe button, as I always say. If you're listening to me, help me out here on February 28th over in Lake Charles, Louisiana. The Cajun Yankee, he is actually having a charity event. His son has a heart condition. I want you to go to his page, give him a follow, give him a like. My niece Kenzie will put up the QR code. You can donate to his charity. I believe it's the American Heart Association. Donate, help out children with heart conditions is very, very important to me. But he's got this great whiskey event. If you're going to be in Lake Charles, Louisiana on February 28th, go over there, check out his event. I don't think you'll be disappointed. You might even see me over there. It depends on what I can squeeze out that weekend, but check that out. Also, you know how big it is for me to be a veteran and to relieve the stresses of life, of my career. And there's an organization out there called Frontline Heroes Outdoors. I want you to check out their QR code here, donate to them. What they do is they take first responders and they take veterans out of the outdoors, hunting, fishing, hiking. They do therapy for them. They take them to games. They do all kinds of stuff for them. But I want you to check out their page and give to their charity right here. Hit that QR code, give to them. I know my good buddy Preston Wall will appreciate that. So, as I was saying, if you're listening to me, you're going to listen to Mark and Matt from Bourbon Life over on Apple Podcast. Give us that 5-star review if you like what you're hearing. Leave us some comments on Apple Podcast. I don't think you can on Spotify. But take those comments, copy them over to my Facebook page because I love reviews. It makes me happy, especially those 5-star reviews. You know, who wants a 1-star review? Nobody wants that, right? And you can check out my Google Maps review and my Facebook review of Maverick Distilling because I'm going to leave one. You can guarantee yourself that. But check that out. I appreciate your support. Keep watching, keep listening. I'm going to keep doing these giveaways. I want to do as much as I possibly can. Help me out. Share my story. Share my reels. Share these videos on YouTube. It helps me out, helps me grow. Tell your friends about it. Hell, invite all your friends to follow me on Facebook, on YouTube. I really do appreciate it. This is Old Big Chief, and thanks for taking this ride with me, baby.